Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 2 Minute Warning. This is the high-paced American football podcast in which the time is in short supply, but the opinions are not. And today, at least I can speak for myself, I don't know about you, but one of the hosts is extremely fat on meat and potatoes and other miscellaneous trimmings. That's definitely the true for me.
Yeah, not so true for me. I don't really partake in the Thanksgivingness. Very thankful for football and family and friends, etc. But yeah, with working a regular job and all that jazz, I don't really get time to roast a turkey in November.
Well, the thing is, Matt, right? There's a way around this, and it's you got to think about what your employers will allow, okay? And
Yes.
It's not even what they can allow, it's what they can't argue, okay? So you set it up early in the year.
Yes.
You go in and you go to HR and you say, excuse me, I'd like to register the fact that I have converted to a new religion. And you select the religion of Unitarian Universalism. Universal Unitarianism is not easy to say, but it does allow you to pick and choose whatever religious holidays you like, because it basically means that you believe in religion and God to a certain extent, but you're not really specific to one religion, and you accept and love the practices of all of them, or at least the best parts of all of them. And so when Thanksgiving rolls around, you say, I need to take off Thanksgiving on religious grounds. And they may not pay you, and you might have to eat that, but at least you'll get the day off.
Yeah, I might not get the pay, but I'll get the turkey, right?
Yeah. It's one of the massive benefits of being a Unitarian Universalist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
I think I just did, and I don't think I did a very good job of it. But welcome on in. This is 2 Minute Warning. I'm Jez. This is Matt. We're here to talk about Week 12 in the NFL, or at least the latter part of it. We kicked things off on Thanksgiving Day with 3 games, and we were here on Wednesday night, special Wednesday night episode to predict that, talk it through, say what we think that we were going to do about it. And we're mostly wrong, but we'll get to that. We will get to that. Welcoming everybody that has joined us so far. Jaeger's here. Wolfie's here. Harmstone's here. I saw a follow from your father. Welcoming your father. I'm sure he'll pipe up when I insult the Patriots. He's one of your lot. Is your father?
He is.
Get them everywhere, unfortunately. So, we will get to the Patriots as well. But we've got some housekeeping to do from Thursday evening. Would you like to kick us off with that?
Absolutely, and as another wonderful Thanksgiving Day has come and gone, and we had the triple header of great football, as always. What were your highlights and lowlights from the Turkey Day triple? Let's put 2 minutes up.
Now, you'd expect me to say that my highlight was the Bears getting a win, but actually, I don't care. Like, at this point in the season, it's largely irrelevant. I suppose I'm glad that in looking back through the annals of time and in the history books that the Lions didn't get their only win of the year over the Bears. That can't happen now this year, at least. So I suppose I'm thankful for that. But that game was trash. The late night game was trash. The Saints and the Bills, that was not very interesting at all. But the middle game, the Cowboys and Raiders game, really made up for it for me. That was some really compelling football. Really enjoyed the little back and forth that they had going on. I enjoyed watching the Raiders not be terrible for once, and watching them handle the Cowboys fairly well. I was disappointed that I kind of had to go to sleep halfway through it because it was a good game, but I enjoyed it again the next morning. That was my highlight, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm going to agree there. The Raiders getting that, well, I don't know whether you want to call it an upset over the Raiders. It was in overtime, 36-33. One heck of a game. I didn't see it any part of it on Thursday, so I did watch it on Friday, later on Thursday. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Ooh, the Bears actually squeaked out a result, which was kind of weird, considering you put your own Bears slightly to the sword in our prediction. But we will get to that. Yeah, them two were pretty good highlights. Like I said, the Raiders being that top one, like you've agreed as well. Bills blowing out the Saints is my low light. Not just because it's the Bills, but because it was a blowout. So
yeah, I was expecting better of that game. I thought that was going to be the most entertaining of the three, but alas, it was not. But after that Thanksgiving triple, we do have a small update necessary for our ongoing prediction competition. So it's your turn this time, Matt, in an untimed down, to take us through all of the standings from the 3 games in Thanksgiving and how that affects everything across the course of the year.
Yeah, so it was even. We both predicted 1 game each out of it, so it's 1-1 in the regular competition. However, we do add our U bets onto it, so I believe your question came from the Saints at Bills game, and it was, will Josh Allen throw more touchdowns than interceptions in the game? He threw 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and this is where I've got to question it live on air. I'm pretty much sure I got that wrong. I'm sure I said he was in there. I'm sure, and I'm being honest, honest man on live on screen, because I don't want to really cheat my way to winning. But yes, I'm pretty sure I did say he would throw more interceptions than touchdowns. But you put point for Matt.
Yeah,
and I don't think you'll have to listen back and maybe.
No, I don't even need to do that. I'm just going to go back through the version history in our Google Doc, because you can do that. Let's have a look.
Absolutely, but I'll keep going whilst you're going through.
No, according to the notes, unless I wrote it down wrong.
Right.
I had me saying yes, he will. I misread it. You are right.
You misread the question.
I misread the question. The question was, will Allen throw more touchdowns than interceptions, not more interceptions than touchdowns? I read it the wrong way around. So yes, you're absolutely right. We'll live update this now. So that means
I'm too honest for my own good.
I was going to say you could have kept that quiet
on a Sunday, on the holy day. Best be honest.
You could have kept that quiet.
There we are. But like I said, I'm not gonna cheat my way to victory. Not on NFL, something that I love. Anyway. The next question was my question, and it was from the 3 Turkey Day games. The question is, will there be 18 touchdowns combined over the games in question? We both said no. There was 14 touchdowns. Jeremy did the math. So no points. Total, because of my honesty, Jez 2, Matt 1 instead of the other way around, Jez 1, Matt 2. And the 2021 rolling total is Jez 106, Matt 95.
So were you dishonest, you would have got away with closing that gap ever so slightly. Absolutely. But no, absolutely. I thank you for your honesty. It's very very festive of you to be so honest and
absolutely
and correct my error there. So yeah. You've got some good karma there, so next time I cock it up, you can probably let it slide. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not gonna cheat my way to winning the lovely mini Lombardi that you currently have from last season. So, but yeah, like I said, well done. It was like I said, only 3 games, so it was a tiny update which rolls into. Obviously, keeps rolling from today's games as well.
Yes, indeed. Now I don't know what what you said, Matt, but Jaeger asks, if there wasn't 18 touchdowns, wouldn't you both get a point if you both said no? We would. That would be the case, but we both said yes, there would be.
Yes.
18 touchdowns, and there wasn't. There were 14, so
yes,
neither of us get a point.
Yes, so yes, both of us said yes, but no, it didn't happen. That's what I meant.
Yeah. And
yes, there was only 14, which was, considering, there was quite a big score. What you've got to remember is a touchdown and a PAT afterwards is 7 points. So scores do go up quite quickly in points value, but not necessarily, as you said, the 18 touchdowns over 3 games is I'd say quite rare.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the Bears and the Lions had scored more touchdowns, we'd have been in the right territory for it. But I think that's the game that let it down. Really, that was not as high scoring as I was expecting. I was expecting both defenses to fail and for it to be a bit of a shootout. So that shocked me at least. But yes, thank you for the question, Jaeger, keeping us honest. Someone's got to. Duff's here as well. And the last time that he was on this show, he made a bet with one of our viewers, Always Be Chatting, about the Bucks and Giants game. Always Be Chatting being a Bucks fan, Duff Valley being a Giants fan. And they put a sub on the line, and as Duff rightly points out in the chat, I owe a sub, boo! Yeah. Well, I was there with you, saying that it would be the Giants that won, but I was not stupid enough to put some food on the line. That's on you, really.
Because I picked the Bucks too.
Did you? I
did, but I don't. I didn't bet any food because I had no voice. I just had signs.
Yeah, that would have required some really special kind of message to
absolutely
say. I'd like to put a sub on it, unprompted.
I'm working on that one.
Well, let's move on then. Get ourselves ready for Week 12, or the rest of Week 12 in the NFL. What's our first game in the first time slot, Matt?
All right, so coming up 6 p.m. UK, 11 Eastern. We have 1 Eastern. Sorry, why did I say 11? Anyway, it's 1 p.m. Eastern. I was thinking, no way are they that far behind. Anyway, 6 p.m. UK, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's the Steelers, and they travel to the Bengals. Let's put 2 minutes up.
So I'm going to come straight out with my prediction for this one, and then explain why I've got that prediction. I think that's the best way of doing this. I'm going for a Bengals win, which is not the consensus around the league and punditry. But here's why I think the Bengals are going to eke out a win. Joe Mixon continues to have a fantastic series of games. Last week he was 30 carries for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Raiders. And not only that, but back in week 3 when they played the Steelers the first time around, the running game really wasn't going. But that is the sole game in that period in which Joe Mixon had a good game. I think he had 90 yards in that game in week 3. So the history is there. And the Bengals pass rusher are really on fire. Sam Hubbard has 6 sacks on the season. Hendrickson has 9.5 sacks on the season. And as I've loved to point out many, many times, Big Ben is often tackled by grass. So this pass rush is definitely going to get to him. And I think that sends the Bengals on to victory.
Yeah, I'm going to agree, and it's going to be Bengals for me as well to complete the clean sweep this season. Bengals have already beaten the Steelers, as you said, 24-10 2 months ago in Pittsburgh, and nothing can really change my mind on that. Big Ben for me is a washout nowadays and has been all season. With the injuries they have as well on the side of the Steelers. The Steelers ruling out cornerback Joe Haden, downgraded from questionable with a mid-foot sprain, and they put their tight end Eric Ebron and centre/guard JC Hassanauer on injured reserve. So, injuries mounting up for the Steelers. Bengals kind of starting to click again. Bengals win.
Fair enough. I would just like to put a correction in there because I wouldn't want the family of Joe Hayden to
sorry.
to write into
Sorry,
the show.
Sorry, Joe Hayden. Madden.
He probably wanted to be Haddon because it sounds more like Madden. It might give him some more football acumen, but no, it is Joe Hayden. Either way, he is out of the game, as you pointed out.
He is. So yeah.
Eric Ebron is out because his big brick hands are too heavy, says your father. Well,
welcome in, your father. Thank you for the comment.
we'll leave that slanderous comment to you. We don't want letters from Eric Ebron any more than we want them from Joe Haddon. So we'll leave that to you. Our next game up for discussion is the Carolina Panthers visiting the Miami Dolphins. Don't know what to say about this game. Is it going to be exciting? Is it not? I'll let you make the determination. 2 minutes.
So yeah, can Cam Newton continue this rise back up to a quarterback everybody knew he was? He's been pretty impressive in my opinion, and I wish he'd have had all the tools last season in Foxborough. But he gets to play the Dolphins again today, so he's not missing his annual Dolphin game. CMC Christian McCaffrey will be the key for the win here, and I don't see the Dolphins offering up anything to stop a big scoring game. Cam Newton is going to roll all over the Dolphins, and I think this could be a Dolphin bashing, to be polite. Panthers win.
Now, there are some things that you said that I'm not going to let you get away with, but we'll get to that. First of all, Cam Newton has made the impact on Carolina that I think Miami were hoping that Tua Tagovailoa was going to make on that team. Very similar playing styles. The difference is, and it's the difference here in Carolina that doesn't exist in Miami and did not exist in New England last season, is that Cam Newton has by his side Christian McCaffrey. And I think Christian McCaffrey, as you quickly mentioned as well, is the difference in this Carolina team. At the beginning of the season, he made Sam Darnold look good. We thought it was Sam Darnold, but we were wrong. It wasn't Sam Darnold. It was the Christian McCaffrey effect. And I think that Cam Newton is a beneficiary of the Christian McCaffrey effect here as well. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that they won't have enough to defeat the Miami Dolphins? No, I think Panthers win here. That is my prediction. But the outrageous statement you made about Cam Newton not having the tools around him was... I'm not going to let you get away with that. Cam wasn't all that, I will say, when he came to you in the Patriots. And he's still not all that now.
Maybe he's riding a little bit of a wave of popularity. Well, he's very popular in Carolina.
He is very popular. So yeah.
He's one of their guys.
It's nice to go home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the next on our schedule is... really, these two. Anyway, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, and they travel to play the New York Giants. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock.
So we mentioned briefly on Wednesday night that Jason Garrett, offensive coordinator of the Giants, had been fired. Good move on their part, frankly. I think he's not an offensive guru of the 21st century, shall we say. I'm sure he would have been fantastic in the 90s, maybe even in the early 2000s, but the game has moved on from the way that Jason Garrett calls a game, in my opinion. So the Giants will be looking to take some risks on offense now with their players let loose. Frankly, they've got nothing to lose at this point in the season, but I think we're too early in the process for that to really have an effect today. The Giants' defense have been playing fairly well, getting better week on week, but they are still allowing points to be scored. And all the Eagles really need to do to win here is to score 30 points. The Giants haven't scored 30 points all season, and I don't see them doing that under new offensive management. So therefore, Eagles win.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with the Eagles winning as my prediction. The Giants have had so many opportunities to turn things around this season, and yet they always seem to come up short, even when their faithful fans believe in them. Duff Valley being one of them. This game is too cut and dry for me, and I see Jalen Hurts and co running up a big score. Jordan Howard is out for tonight's game, and that is for the Eagles. But that's not going to be neither here nor there, I don't think.
Next man up.
But compared to the list that is for the G-men, Saquon Barkley is questionable, Kadarius Toney is doubtful, and the injured reserve list of the New York Giants is longer than my arm. It is absolutely massive. I didn't think you could have so many players on IR.
Yeah, the only thing not bigger, or the only thing bigger than the New York Giants IR list is my daughter's Santa list. That's the only thing bigger.
I can concur with Santa lists. Absolutely.
Yeah. And with Thanksgiving, put away, we are now on the road to Christmas. It's the Christmas conversation. And
absolutely.
The gift that your New England Patriots have received already on the way to Christmas is a slate of very difficult games for the month of December. That kicks off tonight in the final Sunday of November, when you will travel. I know you won't travel. You'll stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
You'll wait for the Tennessee Titans to turn up in Foxborough, Massachusetts. How will it go? How will it go? Huge game, says your father. What do you think, Matt? 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
Not huge with a Y.
Huge, yeah. Sorry, yeah, with the Boston slang and all that. I can't do it. Anyway, I'll practice. The Patriots have a chance today to put many of these doubters to bed. This is a huge point in the season.
Huge.
Which will start to cement some postseason football. And Mac Jones is getting the protection and the time inside the pocket. J.C. Jackson, Adrian Phillips, and the defensive line are doing so much better this season. As we mentioned a couple of weeks back, we have the opt-outs back from last year, so that's making a big difference. Yes, the Titans are good and have a great record this season, but they are missing Mr. Henry. And I don't know, that's a little bit of a plus for me as a Patriots fan. I want to keep this good feeling going. Patriots win.
I've got to be nice and horrible at the same time here. It's going to be weird. The Patriots are on a 5-game winning streak. Kudos. That's on the back of their defense and their running game. They got 4 sacks on Matt Ryan in week 11. Tannehill is sacked a lot. The Titans are tied for 28th in the league in sacks allowed, but that doesn't tend to prevent Tannehill and co getting the job done in most instances. I've got a weird classification for this, right? And it's going to come up again. Are the Patriots a good team? I think with what we've seen in the last few weeks, they are. And therefore, with the Titans seemingly able to beat the good teams, but not the bad teams, I'm saying Titans win. Titans beat the good Patriots. Titans win.
Start of a long, hard slog in December. Sort of December.
Your father. I tried to post a message in the chat, but the Patriots D intercepted it, etc.
Ooh! Somebody had to do it.
They're a very balanced team, he adds, but I can't forget that 2-4 start and how bad they were. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's what have you done lately? And lately, you've been a good team, so therefore the Titans will beat you. I don't make the rules. I'm just following what the Titans do. And you're a good team that are going to be beaten.
That pains Jez so much to say the Patriots are a good team.
You noticed I haven't said it in that phrasing. I've said they. I could be talking about anybody. You can't take me out of context there.
No.
Actually, that's not the correct statement. You can't take me in context there. You can only take me out of context. They are a very good team.
Absolutely. In that conversation about the Patriots and the Titans.
Yeah, you're right. The Titans are a very good team.
They are a very good team. But they, like you said, lose to sucky teams. Anyway,
speaking of sucky teams, it's a nice segue.
It is. It's a fantastic segue. We've got the Falcons, and they travel to the warmer climes of Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's put 2 minutes up.
So obviously this is the game of the week. Cannot wait for it. This is going to be a blockbuster game. Huge, as your father has used already today. And it's perhaps a chance for Trevor Lawrence to have a good game. Atlanta are 30th in the league in pass completions allowed. Seems like they can be passed on. So the Jags should really be focusing on exploiting that and getting Lawrence some good games to close out the season. They're not playoff bound, let's be quite honest about it. Running back James Robinson can help with that because in addition to not being able to stop the pass, Atlanta can't stop the run either. What can they do? Answers on a postcard. They can score points, actually. That's what the Atlanta Falcons can do. So we may end up here with what I like to call a shootout of ineptitude. So it could come down to who scores last. I'm going to go Jaguars. Almost tossing a coin.
Why not? But as we mentioned earlier in the week when we did our little mini roundup of how people stand, Jags 2-8 versus the 4-6 Falcons. This is going to be interesting to say the least, right? Neither team are any good. Trevor Lawrence is better than the sucky record suggests so far this year. Falcons don't deserve 4 wins. That's in my opinion. Falcons fans, defend yourself and change my mind. And they won't win tonight with the faithful, what are they called? Duval or whatever they chant. Behind them, the Jags today. I can see the Jags picking up a win. And that'll be win number 3 on the season. Jacksonville Jaguars have got to do something to avoid having the number 1 pick again.
I don't understand that Duval thing. Like, people have tried to explain it to me, and I just don't get it.
I thought I'd just throw it in there, to be honest. Just in case we had a Jags fan watching or something. I know plenty of them.
Yeah, they are a surprisingly popular team for being so awful.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, not Duval, future Wolfington. Like that, but with one L. Duval Count. Okay. Really? That's a terrible reason to chant that. That's like... I don't know. That's terrible. If that's the reason, that's terrible. People have tried to explain it in far greater pomp and circumstance than that to me in the past. That's terrible. That's terrible. Speaking of terrible, your father says, fair play, Jez. That Patriots moment that we won't add any more words to was a totally unclippable screw you.
That's
not my first rodeo. It's not my first rodeo. I've been here before. Now then, we move on to the next game. Staying with a Florida team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are traveling to Indianapolis to face the Colts. I've been fairly vocal with my opinion of the Colts this year. What do you think? 2 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, so Tom Brady seems to have this knack of pulling off wins when the teams he's about to face have had a pretty good week before. This said, Rob Gronkowski is back. We did miss the guy, and they missed him against Washington. And he made the difference in the win versus the Giants. Mind you, it was the Giants. Compared, like I said, to the loss versus Washington football team. But that was due to injury. Colts have been more impressive than even I thought, and I need to give them some kudos, and kudos to Carson Wentz. But the Colts today, will come up short. I can't see them beating Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski et al. So yeah, for me, it's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers win.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. The Colts are really getting on my nerves at the moment. Wentz has been a lot better than I gave him credit to early in the season. Even after all this evidence mounting up, I'm like the last angry man not believing in the Colts and their offense. I just don't know why. I just can't get on board with them at all. The defense I can get on board with. They're doing very, very well. Mm-hmm. They may do enough to shut down Brady and company, but I think that the Colts fairy tale, it's got to come to an end at some point, right? And the reigning Super Bowl champions seem to be one of the more equipped teams to do it, I would say. Despite the fact that on offense, Jonathan Taylor is continuing his campaign for MVP. I think he's definitely got an argument for it. 100+ yards in 5 of the last 6 games. Maybe Devin White in the middle of that Bucs defense can do something about that. They roll to victory. Bucs win.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Before we continue, Duff has just posted something in the chat. It's a very good point. As we are on the Jez Show Sports Network, just like to say briefly a rest in peace and condolence to the family of Formula One legend Frank Williams, who died, I think, yesterday. If not yesterday, then early today. That's on the sad note. And then Duff adds, no F1 news on the banner below. No, I had Thanksgiving off. I haven't got to that yet. Give me a break.
He took one day off.
Yeah.
He took one day off.
I took more than one day off. I didn't work Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
Hey.
Yeah. I'll get to it. I'll get to it this week. It'll be on there before we get to the effing racing show next Sunday. All right, Duff.
Yeah.
All right.
The
cuff. Sorry, go on.
You get like 2 weeks between races, don't you? So
not always.
Not always.
Yeah, but since the last one through to Saudi Arabia next week, yes, a nice 2-week gap. Yeah. Your father has presented a message he would like me to read verbatim, so obviously I'm not going to do that. The Colts were considered a playoff team before the season. Not by me. Though, another bad start. Yes, they did have a bad start, you're right. Like the Patriots, they had a bad start. Now they're a good team. There we go. Once again, I know what I'm doing.
He will not be caught out.
Let's move on to the next game before your father flips his laptop. Right, I'm following. There it is. Yeah.
There's the button. Anyway, yes. Onto the next, the last of our 6 p.m. kickoff games, and we've got an interesting one for a returning quarterback, as the New York Jets travel to the Houston Texans. Let's put 2 minutes up.
Now, I said that the Jag game was going to be the game of the week. I was wrong. I forgot about this one. This is going to be the game of the week. We're just spoilt for choice this week in the NFL. And yeah, a reason for that thrill is that Zach Wilson is back for the Jets. Back from injury, ready to have a great return game. What can stop them? The Texans are riding high after that 4-interception victory over a great Titans team that only lose to bad teams. Also, they sacked Tannehill twice. So if any aspect of the Texans is stepping up, it's that pass defense, and it could make it difficult for Wilson in his return. The bright spots for him, though, is that in his absence, certain other aspects of the offense have stepped up. The Jets' Elijah Moore had 141 yards and a touchdown last week with Flacco under centre. So if he can replicate that and a few other people can step up, then Zach Wilson might have a chance. But I'm going Texans win.
Yeah, I can't see the Jets getting past the Texans because the Texans are riding high right now. And what a game for Zach Wilson to come back in, right? The Jets have had no real luck at all this season, but they did beat the Titans a few weeks back, in which is probably their highlight of the season so far. I'd hate to say that the Texans are a better team, but they have also recently had success against a better team in the Titans also. So it's the matchup of the teams that have beaten the Titans. Jets and Texans beaten the Titans. Hey, bad teams beat the Titans. But yes, for me, it's a Texans win.
Yeah. You could not put a gun to my head and make me watch Texans Jets, says your father. Well, you wouldn't be watching anyway. You'll be watching the Patriots, won't you? So
yeah.
So there you go. I will probably see a lot of the Jets Texans game and a lot of the who was it, Jaguars Falcons game, because they're going to be so thrilling that they will dominate the NFL red zone coverage. Obviously. Won't get to see any of some of these other games with not very good teams like Bucks and Colts and Titans and Patriots. They won't even get a look in. No.
Yeah. I can't see them even being featured on Red Zone, to be honest.
Maybe the kickoff. They like to show every kickoff, don't they?
Or even the coin toss, maybe, if we're lucky.
Yeah, you never know. We don't talk about coin tosses after Thursday's debacle in
It's always one.
There is always. I don't get how these people exist in the NFL. Have you not watched this sport your entire life? Anyway, digressing, moving on. We're into the 9 p.m.-ish slot now, and I think it's the first time in a very long time that it hasn't fallen on you to say 9 p.m.-ish.
I know.
Must be a different number of games this week or something, or more in the 6 p.m. slot. I don't know how we got there, but we're there. The first in that slot is the LA Chargers and the Denver Broncos. What do we think? 2 minutes.
Well, it's a trip to Mile High in November. It's an unpleasant affair, and it's going to be cold and wintry. The weather probably won't affect the outcome of this game, but it'll still be cold. But I'll leave the weather to Duff Valley. See, this is our weather expert. The Chargers. The Chargers are 6-4 with the Broncos at 5-5. So both fairly even on their records this season so far. Bradley Chubb, linebacker, has been activated for Denver and will play today. However, I just think the Chargers are going to have too much. Chargers win.
Yeah, it's almost like trading away your best linebacker is a bad idea, and that you're going to struggle to fill his spot. I don't know. But this is going to be a tough, very closely run divisional game. This will be a good one, I believe. And the Broncos are off a bye, so they're well rested. They're playing great on defense, despite a few weeks now without Von Miller. It's mainly the pass defense that are playing well. You've got Justin Simmons and Patrick Surtain combining to be very formidable against the pass. They could shut down the Chargers. It usually depends what kind of week, or what kind of Justin Herbert we get. Do we get good Justin Herbert or bad Justin Herbert? Good Justin Herbert turned up last week. He had over 370 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also found Mike Williams, who I don't know where he was hiding, but haven't seen him in ages. I thought he'd retired. Austin Eckler also had a good game on the ground, rushing all over the field. I think it's going to come down to offense. The Broncos are still struggling on offense, especially on third down, so they just won't score as much as the Chargers. Chargers win. And here is the hashtag Duffcast. 19 degrees C, 9 mile per hour wind, no rain.
Awesome.
19 degrees C, that's not even cold then.
No.
That's balmy, I would say.
Yeah.
And I don't mean balmy mad, I mean with an L. Balmy. Yeah. Balmy. balmy's a hard word to say without sounding like you're saying lunatic. Or yeah,
absolutely. Just don't use balmy in that context.
Yeah, that's too easy though, isn't it?
It is far too easy. Yes, interesting. We'll see. It's going to be a warm one in my high. After all, however, nothing mile high about these two teams. Next up, anyway, it's the Vikings, and they travel to the warm climes of San Francisco to play the 49ers. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock.
I mean, is it warmer in San Francisco than in Denver? That seems unseasonably warm. But anyway, I'm digressing again. The Vikings did me a huge favour last week. Beating the Packers. Cheers for that, Skull. And I think a big part of the 49ers' rise on the other side is that Deebo Samuel remembered how to catch. He had some major drop issues at the beginning of the year. They have been put firmly behind him now. On the year, he's at 994 yards and 5 touchdowns. You've got to assume that he will go over 1,000 in this game. And Jimmy Garoppolo is playing arguably the best football of his career this year. More good stuff from the Vikings on the other side. The defense are playing fairly well. They're 5th against the pass in the NFL, and they are holding QBs to ratings under 100. They let Rodgers have 385 yards last week, but Garoppolo isn't Rodgers. Garoppolo hasn't shown us his toes at a press conference for one. That's one major difference between the two. I think the Vikings are going to force Jimmy Garoppolo to do too much. And I'm not sure he rises to that. So I'm going Vikings for the victory.
Well, I'm going to go against you and say the 49ers are going to win.
About time.
And this is on just a few things. Anyway, 49ers manhandled the Rams, 31-10. However, Vikings visited the Chargers and got a tight 27-20 victory. And then Kirk Cousins produced that 34-31 win against the Packers. But 49ers are starting to look like a complete team, especially over the last 2 weeks. Consistency is an issue for both, more so for the Vikings, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's why I've gone 49ers.
Fair enough. And apparently it's the same weather in San Francisco today, with a 2 mile an hour difference in the wind. It's 11 miles an hour in San Francisco to the 9.
It's windier in San Francisco, but the same temperature. There we are.
Not shocking.
Weather
maybe it is shocking. What's windier, a bay or the mountains? I suppose a bay. Just comes straight off the sea, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It doesn't have to travel all the way, you know.
Yeah, we are really weathery on this show today.
Absolutely.
Don't know where that came from. Yeah. Well, from wind and air to a team that has a quarterback that's full of hot air. See what I did there? The LA Rams will travel to Green Bay to face the Packers. 2 minutes on the clock. All yours.
Yeah, so this has been put around on various places. There's 2 great quarterbacks in Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers going head-to-head in this game. The Rams have had a great season, and so have the Packers to an extent. And they've continued to roll even when, as we've said before, and even in the preseason, Aaron Rodgers was having his tantrums. And then he did his stupid moment over COVID vaccines and, like you said, showing his feet in press conferences. I just feel that with the way the Rams have been this season, a statement win against Green Bay would be a good way to start cementing that run into postseason in a cold Lambeau. Rams win. Yeah,
I'm going to agree. This is a great game incoming. One of the games of the week, and that said without sarcasm this time. I think this is going to be a mini Odell Beckham Jr. revenge game. I think he's going to have a great game and have his first good game for LA. and validate the decision that he made to sign with the Rams over the Packers after the Packers lowballed him on a contract offer. So he's got incentive there. The Packers did play very, very well in their shootout against the Vikings. I expect a similar kind of game, really, to that Packers-Vikings game against the Rams. I think the Rams have got a better defense of the two, but there's not a huge amount in it. There's not a great deal in it. And even as much as I dislike the Packers, I think I'm going to thoroughly enjoy this one while rooting for the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going Rams victory. Victory.
Absolutely.
And your father enjoyed my my segue at the beginning so much that he unfollowed just to refollow again. Just to show his appreciation for that wonderful segue. I have a bad feeling the Packers will win this, he says. The Rams have laid several eggs since the OBJ and Von Miller deals. Yes, they have. They've kind of gone through a Philadelphia Eagles dream team moment. You can have too much talent on one team, and I don't know if the Rams are bringing that all together as a team. Got to be a team.
Too many individual talents.
It could be. Maybe they put it back together. I predict they put it back together, as do you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But we shall see. We shall see.
Yes. But we move on to the post 9 p.m.-ish games, and I did get it in there. And we move to Sunday night football. It sees the Cleveland Browns travelling to the Baltimore Ravens. Let's put 2 minutes up.
So, my belief in the Browns is waning rapidly, finally, as it is throughout Cleveland, I think. The fans were booing Baker Mayfield last week. Not that apparently, if you believe what he said in press conference, that he gave a damn. He didn't care that they were booing. It didn't affect him in any way, so he says. The running game is still working in Cleveland, though. Nick Chubb had 130 yards on 22 carries last week against the Lions. He has had over 100 yards in 4 of the last 5 of his games. And the Ravens did fairly well against the run. Their last game was the Bears, and they held David Montgomery to fairly low numbers. So perhaps they can prevent Nick Chubb. I know that Kareem Hunt is back as well. Force the ball into Lamar Jackson's hands. He's back from illness. Still don't know what illness it was. Ready to put a hurting on the Browns' defense, which I believe he can do as long as he stays away from Myles Garrett, who leads the league in sacks. I'm going Ravens.
Yeah, and this is the thing. You've got to avoid Myles Garrett. Big guy with big numbers of sacks. Both teams have, in my opinion, decent offensive lines. This one will come down to who scores last. I think Lamar Jackson, now that he's back, will play a massive part in this one. And Baker Mayfield will have to find his rhythm early on if the Browns stand a chance. Baker versus Jackson is one that needs to be written in lights, and rightly so. It's up here on Sunday Night Football. I'm not going to agree with the Ravens win. I just think the Browns have got something a little bit more. Browns win.
I hope it's a good game. I hope it is competitive.
Yeah.
Like, your father's with me. He's been disappointed in the Browns. You know how much I believed in the Browns at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
It's been disappointing to see. I think Baker Mayfield has really struggled with injury, and he's kept playing when maybe he shouldn't have, and should have taken some time to rest. But he apparently is getting back up towards full health now. So I guess we'll see. I hope it's entertaining, even if I'm wrong in my prediction.
Yes. It's going to be an interesting watch, if anything else.
Yeah. I'd like to see him slap Case Keenum in there while Baker gets 2 working arms. Yeah, I mean, I hear that arms are pretty useful for quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Case Keenum was perfectly seizable in the game that he played. So
yeah, can't go passing it with your knees now, can we?
You can try. I don't see
You
it
can
ending
try.
very well for you. Yeah,
No.
yeah. Maybe once until you get driven into the ground by
Yeah.
Myles Garrett. Anyway, it's Seahawks and Washington on Monday Night Football, which great way to end the week. A huge way to end the week. Been as huge as the word of the day. 2 minutes.
Yeah, maybe it is. Seahawks have lost their way recently, and Russell Wilson hasn't really gotten restarted after his return. That's coming from somebody who doesn't watch a huge amount of Seahawks football, but just from seeing that they're not doing too well. Washington football team picked up a massive upset versus the Bucks, and deservedly so. They seem to have found some sort of form, and maybe, as you've accused me of being, or banded me as a closet fan. But yeah, I guess it's a little bit of feel good factor and a little bit of nostalgia of years gone by for me. Washington, I think, have got too much for the Seahawks, which is an odd thing to say. Washington win for me.
And it is that tale of Washington improving and getting back to that form that they had towards the end of last season, and the Seahawks just not living up to anything, really. So they allowed Colt McCoy to pass on them for 328 yards. Right, yeah, that's Seattle defense for you. Said in a completely different context to the Legion of Boom a few years ago. So you'd expect Taylor Heineke to have a great game on the back of that. He got 206 yards and 3 touchdowns against Carolina. I think we can say that the Carolina defense is better than the Seahawks defense. Can only mean good things for Heineke. On the other side, Russell Wilson is struggling to get the ball to, well, anyone. But DK Metcalf especially. He's missed targets since his return. And I'm not sure that this is the game where he can get it back on track. So, yeah, Washington win. It just means more for them. They can get closer to the top of the East with a victory. But the Seahawks are done. They're not getting past the Rams or Cardinals.
Yeah, it just feels odd to say that the Seahawks are going to get beaten by Washington.
Yeah, I mean, it does now. Like, it's been a few years since the Seahawks were bad. I remember it being a big deal when the Seahawks made the playoffs with was it an 8-8 or a 7-9 record or something a few years ago?
Like that, yeah.
Since then, they've been pretty good. So, alien to speak of the Seahawks in negative terms for sure. But
yes,
here we are. Moving on then. That's the games all predicted and tucked away nicely. We're going to move on to You Bet. So, if you're tuning in for the first time, You Bet is a segment in which we take propositions from various betting sites, things that might happen in a game, and we flat out say, yes, they will happen, or no, they will not. So, my You Bet proposition comes from the Bengals and Steelers game. The question is, will Joe Burrow have over 299 passing yards in the game? What do you think, Matt?
It's the Steelers, and the Steelers have been kind of and I don't think they can do much on defense. So 299 passing yards is relatively low in numbers this season, it seems, for quite a lot of quarterbacks. So I'm going to say yes.
Okay. I'm very simply going to say no, I don't think he does, because I think they win this game on the back of the other Joe Mixon. So I'm going to say no. He doesn't quite get to 299 in this game.
He'll get like 298 now. Be like, Damn.
That'd be fine with me. It's still a point for
Absolutely.
Jez.
However, my bet comes from the Patriots-Titans game. And the question is, will the Patriots running back, so that's Harris, Stevenson, Taylor, Bolden, and Johnson.
And the partridge in the pear tree.
Absolutely. Why not? I was going to sing it then. Score 3 or more combined touchdowns.
5 mediocre running backs and a Mac Jones sacked in the pocket. I'll workshop it. I'm sure there's a song in there somewhere. So, between all of the running backs, will they get 3 plus?
3 plus.
I've got a question. So 4 is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I guess it is
more than 3.
More than 3. Yes.
Right. Okay.
More than 3 combined touchdowns.
I'm going to go no then, because I think 3 is the number that they get. So 3 plus, no, but 3, yes.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement. There's plenty of talent in there for unknown-ish running backs, but yes, I'm going to say no. I think 3 is the magic number.
That's another song.
It is another song.
Yeah. So there's precedent for your groundbreaking revelation there of 3 being the magic number. So yeah. Okay, fair enough. I'm just going to read this question from your father, because it's an interesting one. Who wasn't taking the bait on that Patriots running back situation. But he asks, Jez, would you take Russell Wilson in Chicago, or do you already have the QB of the future on your roster? Andy Dalton. Now that too is bait, I will say. But it's an interesting question, being that there was a point at the beginning of the season where it looked like Russell Wilson might be traded, and Chicago were top of the list in wanting to trade for him. And then when they failed to do that, they signed Andy Dalton. So as far as the people in the front office of Chicago are concerned, they're the same person. I would disagree. But now, with how it's turned out and with drafting Justin Fields, no, I would not have gone with Russell Wilson in Chicago, because we've basically seen the exact same situation in Seattle of what happens when you put Russell Wilson behind an offensive line made of paper. It doesn't work out. Whereas Justin Fields can do things with his feet and escape that terrible situation behind that offensive line. And even Andy Dalton, to his credit, he's been managing to move around a little bit and work things out behind that bad offensive line. So it's all turned out okay. Not for this season. This season's a write-off. But in general, for what we would have probably ended up paying Russell Wilson, I think it's worked out beautifully. Would you have liked Russell Wilson in New England?
With the way it's gone now, like the situation where we got rid of Cam Newton being a veteran quarterback and never in my memory putting in a rookie from day one. I mean, we didn't even do that with Tom Brady. He got his chance after Drew Bledsoe went down back in 2001. And Tom Brady's done fine for everything that he's been through with all the accusations, whether right or wrong, in his past. Football-wise, obviously, nothing. I don't know anything. Nothing personal's ever come up about Tom Brady like you hear about other footballers. But no, I wouldn't. I'd stick where it is. I mean, I feel as a Patriots fan that we're really lucky that Mac Jones fell to 15.
Yeah, and your father says Mac Jones is a very Belichickian QB, match made in heaven.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson fits better in New England than he does Chicago. If that's the that's the conversation we're having. If that's the choice that's made, I think he fits a lot better behind that decent offensive line.
Oh yeah. He fits through. He fits behind better protection, definitely. Like you said, you've got two teams in Chicago and in Seattle that like you said, the protection's paper thin, which needs to be improved upon. But I think Chicago, if they can build an offensive line that protects Justin Fields from next season onwards, I don't see why they shouldn't go on a run into the playoffs next year.
I've got a reason. His name is Matt Nagy.
Well, yeah. They should have lost to the Lions, then he'd have been fired.
I don't think he would have. Hopefully he's fired by the end of the year. But
hopefully.
This has been a digression. Yeah.
Yes, it has been.
As always. My closing thought from this conversation is, I would love to see what happens to Mac Jones behind a different offensive line. I'm not a believer in Mac Jones. Patriot hate aside, and I wasn't before the draft. Before he even went to the Patriots, I would have been very disappointed for the Bears to pick up Mac Jones. But he's doing the job. I suppose
it was a case of I think your father put it very well in the fact that he fits Bill Belichick's system and the quarterback system, the offensive system in New England very well.
Yeah. Someone's got to, because, your last guy ups and left had enough of that nonsense in New England, so, yeah.
And then we were down to Brian Hoyer.
Hey, don't be knocking Brian Hoyer.
No, absolutely not. He's been good, too.
I think he might have played for the Bears at one point.
Yeah, I think he did. He's been everywhere.
I might be mixing him up with Luke McCown, they're basically the same guy, Brian Hoyer and Luke McCown.
Yeah, you don't see them both in the same room at the same time.
I haven't, that's for sure.
Nope.
Yeah.
Same person.
Yeah. So that's our show. Enjoy week 12 in the NFL, and if you are a Thanksgiving-y celebratory type person, enjoy any leftovers that you have left as you kick through some football. Now, I will be watching NFL Red Zone and putting up my Christmas tree. It's after Thanksgiving now. It's time.
Yeah.
So
it's time for Jez to get festive.
It is. It is. I've got my Christmas jumper ready. There you go. Look.
Hey.
Feliz Navidad. I love it. Might wear it next week. We'll see. But until next week, I've been Jez. That's been Matt. Matt, I'd like to say a huge goodbye, Matt.
Huge goodbye, Matt.
That went exactly as I hoped.